I don't really phone game often. That's because I've been trying to spend more time with my PS5 and my Switch 2, which, I bought a couple months ago, and both of the systems have been great. And honestly, I really do want to spend more time with them. It's just that with working and, other things I got going on, sometimes it can be a little difficult. I will say the good thing about like the App Store and Google Play is, it's pretty convenient. Again, just being able to game on the phone, but also, they have a variety of apps on the App Store. There's tons of games out there to buy and, stuff for free. The fact that it's more convenient means that it does well to kill time. If you're just sitting bored somewhere, not everyone carries around something like a ROG Ally or a Switch 2 or something like that in public. Sometimes it can feel a little bulky or tedious at times, so it's just more convenient to carry a phone around. The fact that you have games available just makes it more convenient. And yes, convenience is the word of the day. I was actually surprised that games like Subway Surfers, Clash of Clans, Jetpack Joyride are still on the App Store. It's funny because I remember playing those games back in like 2013, 2014, and those games were huge back then. And at that time, I was like a freshman in high school. And the fact that they still have it on the App Store is just mind-blowing. And it just goes to show that phone games actually have aged really well. And it's just, popular for that reason. People prefer that pick up and play quality. And, these games obviously have DLC, so they just, keep you hooked and they really get you going and they really go the extra mile and make you spend like, $1 or $2, $5, $10. That's kind of the downside to phone gaming, I feel like. As far as like the free games are concerned, there are just so many like offers, deals, bundles. It's so annoying, because having to go through it and I'm just like, I just want to play the game. But the fact that I'm going through screens after screens, like you want this, you want that, like I don't care. It just really slows things down. It's like, honestly, like who even wants this stuff? The biggest issue I have with phone gaming is ads. There are ads everywhere, and on most of the free games that I played, there's always going to be an ad no matter what, and it's always 30-second ads. Sometimes I'm sitting there for a minute and it's about a game that I'm not interested in, I don't want to play. Now, I don't have footage of it, but one time there was a game that was actually interesting, and so I went in and I downloaded it, but the game was nothing like the ad. So it was just complete false advertising. That to me is like, that's why I just grew to hate ads so much. I get why people do it, people do make money off of ads when it comes to games, but if this is the way you're gonna do it, honestly, I don't think it's a great approach. I really wish this was the case on social media. People are browsing on there every day and don't really mind it as much, because it's not going to interrupt your game by any means. When these ads are interrupting your gameplay experience, that's a pretty bad sign, especially for somebody who's a console gamer where you don't have to deal with ads at all, especially because you're paying, quite a bit of money, for a PS5 game or even a Switch 2 game. How would you feel if you spent $70 on a Switch 2 game and you have ads everywhere? That's a lawsuit, man. What's so fun about ads? These companies, all they care about is making a quick buck. Now, we'll say though, if you do want to disable them, sometimes you'll pay a couple dollars and then, you'll have an ad-free experience. Other times, you can't even remove ads at all. The other issue I have are the touchscreen controls. Now, while the touchscreen controls aren't that bad, I feel like they're not well suited to some games. I think especially if you're doing like RetroArch, if you're doing like emulation or, some games that are better with a controller. Perhaps the best example I can think of are like first-person shooters, because those games are more meant to be played with using a controller, versus touchscreen controls. You're not really paying attention to the controls, and then you're just kind of like, where are the controls? You know what I mean? Because the touchscreen controls are just not designed for those type of games. Though they're not bad in all situations, though. There are some games in which it works really well. 8-Ball Pool is a great example, which can benefit from both, the touchscreen controls and, a controller. But, most people just use the touchscreen controls. Now, they make this really cool controller. It's called the Backbone controller. And, they sell it at Best Buy for like $100. And honestly, you can probably get a deal on it, you know, someplace else. It's really dope because it's a USB-C controller, and you know, it kind of turns your phone into a controller. It's really dope. And I was thinking about buying one for the PS5 just because I was also considering the PS Portal, you know, which is its own separate thing for like $200. And, you know, for some people like myself, that is kind of a little pricey. Also, the Backbone is more convenient for the price that you pay, just because you can do more with it. If that's something you guys are interested in, that's something worth checking out. But honestly, the thing that's got me hooked towards phone gaming now is that, now I didn't tell you guys before, but I recently picked up an iPhone 17. And so far, it's been a great phone. You guys might have seen the video I did of the iPhone 15 Pro Max. I'm gonna be honest, I have my reasons for upgrading to the iPhone 17, which I promise I will do a video on it. But I didn't really have games on the 15 Pro Max. I had them here and there. I kind of installed them every once in a while, and then I kind of just took them off. Just because I was like, well, you know, they're kind of taking up space on my phone. And the other thing is, I wasn't really playing them just because I was playing my systems. But you know, despite ads and despite all the annoying things that come with it, I did find some games to truly be enjoyable. And also with a lot of these games, you know, it's like gradual, like over time progression. It's not like everything comes at you at once. You know, you're kind of slowly building up to it. Like Clash of Clans is a good example. Like it often takes hours or days to like upgrade. Same thing with 8-Ball Pool. It's like getting money is kind of like a gradual process. You work your way up to it. Some games that I did try, I ended up deleting. If I remember correctly, there was like this one game. It was CSR 2. And I used to love that game as a teenager. I remember I played that on my Galaxy S5 back when it first came out, I think around like 2015 or so. You know, so I got back on it again. You know, it automatically thrust me into a race, and I'm like, okay. And then as I'm going to like go do another race or something like that, it automatically subjects me to this huge update. I was like, no, 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 no. I was like, I immediately uninstalled that shit because, you know, I'm not going to sit here and, you know, wait for a 2 GB update to complete. And it's mandatory. You know, you don't have an option to turn it off. But to end it on a positive note, despite some of the annoying quirks, phone gaming is great, honestly. It's not the greatest. It's great because it's flexible. It's very versatile. You do have a lot of options. And again, I would recommend that Backbone controller. But until then, I got more shit coming on the channel, so please don't miss it. Peace.